Hey, it worked. Oh, you have no idea what the last 36 seconds looked like. Wasn't pretty. I wasn't even at my desk. Happy FriYay. It's that time again. We send the week out with love. And it's loving that we won't be here on the weekend because we'll be enjoying time with our families, hopefully, for those who at least can. Oh, I got to send a message. I'm texting. I just realized that JD's not here. We have no producer. So I just sent a frantic text, and that was to my wife saying, hey, do you mind helping? We'll see if she's available. Otherwise, we're just going to take it slow. And that's okay. We can do that. I should probably press go on the Instagram. Let's do that quickly. I apologize in advance for the sounds that are about to come out of here because it's going to be a reel. I want to check audio. Is it working? Yeah, it's working. Here we go. Hitting live so they can join the party. What's happening? I hope everyone's getting ready for what should be awesome weather all weekend. I mean, Monday's supposed to be sunny. I don't know how the weekend's going to be, but I'm really hoping for good things. I'm trying to stay positive. Good morning to Big Jeff Fresh, Stephen Bell, Logic 101, and what's happening here? Ooh, cousin's wedding. Big Jeff Fresh is coming into town. I've got a couple of things to talk about. And actually, you know what? I can start with the story because Vision Zero Enforcement Team is what I always start with. But what I really want to talk about is yesterday's stop, which I tweeted about this morning. So it's not a surprise for everyone. But they got a motorcycle with a fake plate. Should I show this to you? Let me pull this up on screen. I'm going to put it on screen for you because we can do that. It's going to be the Twitter page. Okay, here we go. This is awesome. It is a motorcycle rider who was stopped, and they not only, I mean, there's so much to unpack here, but they had the I'm Slow fake license plate. They also had they weren't licensed to ride on motorcycles. They had a driver's license, but not a motorcycle license. They were doing 138 and an 80 when they were stopped, but there were reports of them driving much faster prior to. Let's see here. They had no insurance on the motor vehicle. There was so much wrong with this stop in terms of what the rider had chosen to do. Not cool. But they got him, and that's great. I love the win. I love the win. Okay. I'm sure we'll talk about this later again. But first things first, if you're watching, welcome. This is Ask a Traffic Cop, and we are day 2 of our not complete, although getting closer, studio. Welcome. This is that show on the internet where we answer your traffic and police questions. We do it Monday to Friday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And I say Monday to Friday, and I realize we weren't here on Monday because of the holiday. I will not be here this coming Monday because I have stuff and things to do, and I've had to take some time off. But I will be back on Tuesday. So this is the last one for a longer stretch than normal. Well, maybe it's not a longer stretch. Maybe it's exactly the same as it was last week. Whatever. We are currently broadcasting across a number of platforms. We're on, of course, TikTok. Apparently, I should call myself the TTTC, according to yesterday's conversation. But we're on TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick, and Twitter. But Twitter, we're one way. You can see us, but we can't hear from you. I saw a couple of questions that went unanswered yesterday because people left comments, and we're just not monitoring it. It doesn't feed into our ecosystem. It used to, but it doesn't now. Now, before I get into other stuff, I guess I should also tell Twitter users, if you'd like to jump over and ask questions, go to visit the trafficcop.ca website, which actually just links you directly to a link tree, which gives you links to all of our social media, and you can jump in it. So whether it be YouTube or Twitch or whatever your preference is, as long as it's not Twitter, you can go in. Does anyone know if Threads does video? Is there a streaming? Because we're on Instagram. Would it be redundant for Threads to also do it? I posted for the first time on Traffic Services Threads account because why not? I don't know if there's anybody there, but we're posting anyway. Okay, back to Vision Zero Enforcement Team for a second because I would be remiss if I did not mention where they are today. It's part of my shtick. So first of all, the Vision Zero Enforcement Team catch people who decide to do stupid things on the road. And I mean stupid in the nicest of ways. It may not be, it may just poor decision making. They're choosing to break the law. That's what they're doing. And when they do that, in the form of speeding, aggressive driving, distracted driving, or impaired driving, or really any offense, but those are the ones they focus on. Well, then they get tickets, not hugs. They give tickets, not hugs, because tickets seem to do a really good job of changing driver behavior. I know that many people say, well, it doesn't do anything, because people break the rules again, even though. And the person who got caught this time apparently has done stuff in the past. This is not the first time they've broken the law on the road. Amazing, right? But very often, the average person, it changes their life. It did for me. I got 2 tickets when I was a teenager. One for a stop sign I just didn't notice. I still believe I didn't intentionally do it. I just didn't see it. But I was a 16-year-old driver. Well, I saw every stop sign after that, I assure you. And then I also got a speeding ticket for like 10 or 15 over. You know what? Those 2 things woke me up. It woke me up to the fact that I need to be, I was 16. When you're doing it as an adult, it's pretty sad. We're supposed to know better. It's an absolute choice at that point. Anyway, where are they today? Vision Zero enforcement unit officers are spending time in 31 and 42, 2 divisions in the city which cover a particular area. Do you know where those are? Probably not, unless you live there and have spent time there. And I mean that like as a member of the community. Well, I'll tell you the neighborhoods. Black Creek, Humbermead, Downsview, Humber Summit, Malvern, Agincourt, Milliken, Rouge, Scarborough. These are areas, and I'm reading from Twitter, the hashtags that are popular in that area. If you've got a hashtag, if you've got a neighborhood that I've not mentioned but you think I should include, next time they're in those divisions, let me know. Shoot me a message. I would love to update my list of stuff and things. Just waving to some people who are on Instagram. Instagram's on a separate phone. I don't have that access to that Instagram live business yet. If anybody knows anybody at Meta, send them a memo. I need to get access so they can get the widescreen version, because they're stuck with just me. So when we have guests, when we do other stuff, they don't actually see that other stuff, and that makes me sad. Let's see here. In case you don't know who I am, and I figure I should just reintroduce myself to everyone watching. My name is Sean Shapiro, and I'm a police officer. I work for the Toronto Police Service at Traffic Safety Programs, and I do media relations and social media, obviously. I talk about traffic safety stuff and things, police stuff, whatever comes up. And we do this most days. So if you don't already follow us, please do. If you have the opportunity to share, whatever platform you're watching, whatever the kudos button is, please give it to us, because it helps us show the algorithm that we're worthy of watching, and that means that other people will join the party. And our only goal, is to give good information to people who want it. We're here for you, truly. We have, okay, got it. I got it. Okay. Tim Shallow says, good morning. Greetings and salutations from Michaela. The focus of, I'm going to be looking the other way a lot. And I mean that from looking at the other screen, because I am rolling solo at the moment. I don't know if I sent a text to my wife to explain just how bad. After the live. Who is this? After a live stream. A friend has called and needs a call back after live stream is done. I will call them back. Okay. Let's see what's going on here. And good morning, Tracy and Emma. There's Emma. Okay. We're going to do our best. This is going to be it's going to be slow. And why is it going to be slow? Because I have a feeling this party is running solo today. Okay, I'm cutting and pasting all of these wonderful things, and I'm putting them into Word. Why? Because I can manage it when it's in Word. I complain about this even when I have help. I complain about the fact that it's so fast. The stream of consciousness that's being dumped into chat is quick. So if you have a question, please put the letter Q before it, so I know that it's a question and that it's not just banter amongst the chat room. And by the way, everyone in the chat room, hey, how's it going? All right. So Tracy said, good morning. We can go past that. Let's scroll down. Why is the scroll wheel not working? Come on. There we go. I guess there was a lot there. Okay. We have Hamian. Good morning. Where's the rest of it? Did that go to the bottom? It is. That was like the most recent thing. Okay. Mechelin? I don't know how to pronounce your name. Good morning. Happy Friday. Thank you for be kind to one another. Can a G1 tow and can a G1 driver tow if they're accompanied by another? Let's put that on screen. I can do this screen business myself. I'm all grown up. Here we go. Can a G1 tow if accompanied by a G driver? Technically, yes. Is it a good idea? No, it really isn't. So while it's legal, it's not suggested. As a new driver, you should really be focused on learning to drive. That's what it is. If you're busy learning how to tow, when you should be, it's like tying your shoes before you run. Is that the way? Learn to walk before you run? Yeah, that thing. But there's no charge for it. You wouldn't get in trouble for it per se. When it's raining, do you have to have your lights on? I know it's good practice, but is it illegal? No, I don't think raining is not a mandatory lights on. If it's dark out, I don't even if it's, it talks about sunrise and sunset, but it doesn't talk about cloudy days. But is it a good idea? Yes, it is a good idea. I don't think there's a charge for you. Okay, Connor Moore has a question, and I'm this is gonna go slow, folks, but I'll do my best. And then we'll talk about some other stuff too, because I always talk about. I try and talk about employment stuff because we're always hiring. I try and talk about the Harley raffle. We'll do our best. We'll do our best. That's what we can do. And we'll also wait for what seems like really slow response to computery stuff. Like I pressed the button, it did not change anything. Okay, maybe I'll try overriding it this way. There we go. No, it was the same question. That's why. All right, I guess it didn't get the. What is the protocol? That's the question I'm looking for. What is the protocol if a motorcycle doesn't trip the sensor? Here we go. Sorry, 1 second. This is important. Got it right. Yes, indeed. Stand by. Okay, that was an important email I had to go on. Thank you for your patience. I do real police stuff here, you know. What is the okay? So if it doesn't, okay, there's no specific protocol. But what can I give you as a solution? If you're on a motorcycle, you approach a traffic light, and because the motorcycle is too small, or it's a smaller vehicle, it doesn't always trip the sensor. The sensor is a magnetic field that you have to interrupt in order to have the light change on some lights. Some of them just time, some of them trip based on a sensor, and that way it doesn't interfere with traffic if nobody's around. But that always messes things up for motorcycle riders, of which I am. I am one. So I have experience in this situation. First off, you could make the right turn on a red safely, legally, where it's permitted, after coming to a complete stop, and then either make a U-turn if it's legal or pull into a driveway or whatever the case may be, whatever the options are. That's one way to go. Another option would be to, if it's safe, get off your motorcycle, go press the walk button on the to trigger the crosswalk, the sensor to make the change so pedestrians can go. You can use that. If you are, so that's one way. What else? You can attach rare earth magnets to the bottom of your motorcycle. That is one. And that seems to do a really good job. And oddly enough, Connor follows up and says, if it's clear, can I go left on a red? The answer is no. You cannot go left on a red. That would be an offense that you could be charged for in the event that you were caught. I'm certainly not suggesting you should ensure you're not caught and do it anyway. That's not what you should do. It's not safe. The question is, if you don't trip the sensor, can you make a left on a red? Sergeant Murray Campbell just walked in. Are you joining us?
I have about 9 minutes.
9 minutes. We'll take them. We'll take the minutes when we can get them. But there's no authority to just do your own thing.
Was a left on a red?
That's a left on a red was the question. Cannot make a left on a red unless it's a one-way to a one-way where it's legal.
That's right.
Yes, there are some exemptions. Let's see here. Kay Tweel misses our OPP guy. Who's the OPP guy? Kerry Schmidt. Are we talking about Kerry Schmidt? You know what? They are not permitted to be on the platform right now, but we hope to have him back.
Yeah, absolutely. We work well with all of our policing partners.
For sure.
Love to collaborate with them.
Joe wants to know, does a G1 driver need to be insured separately? That's the question from Joe. So the vehicle that they're driving must be insured, and they have to have permission to operate the vehicle. There is the caveat. So legally, if you're a licensed driver and actually, no, what am I saying? G1, it has to be supervised by the licensed driver.
Right.
And the insurance has to be on the vehicle. And that's it. The G1 driver doesn't need to be listed. I've never heard of any company that cares or there's a requirement.
So I can tell you that when my kids were going through the learning process and they both had G1s, I called my insurance company to advise them. They took the information and said, yep, you're good to go. There was no additional cost because they were being supervised by somebody that had a full G license. And they weren't driving the vehicle on their own.
That's pretty much what happened when my wife was going to, or had her G1. Same deal. And then they said, just give us a call back when you get your G2.
Yeah, because then they become a fully licensed driver.
I'm gonna zoom out so you're actually, woo. So you're actually
Other
on camera. Yeah. Okay, now you're back in. We have a question that says 3 lanes, bus stopped in right lane, dropping people off. Can I make a right turn from the middle lane? No. That would be an improper turn. It's not a turn lane. If it was a turn lane marked as such, then you could, but you cannot do that. It's called an improper turn.
So yes and no, I would agree with you. But there's a lot of situations, especially here in Toronto, where a bus will occupy a bus bay that's also a turning lane, and may have their 4-way flashes on, may have put down for arrest or having an issue or that case. If they have their 4-way flashes on, I'd say it's pretty reasonable to go around them.
I find that there's usually enough space in front that you can change lanes into the turning lane beyond them, and that's what I've done in the past. Where I actually turn. So if that's an option, that's what you should do. But I agree, if it's completely blocked, there's a collision, there's something there as an obstruction, it would then be reasonable under those circumstances.
Yeah, absolutely.
So there's always a sometimes maybe.
Got to be careful though, because that bus is not going to be expecting you to make a right turn in front of them, and they may pull out from their bus stop and cause a collision. And as we know, the law changed a little while ago that we have to yield to all buses when they're pulling out of there. So if you're coming from behind and the signal's on for them, you have to stop and yield to them.
Yes. We have a question from Logic 101. Side parking enforcement officer, I'm assuming, blocking the road while issuing tickets while there was an alleyway stop 5 meters away. Doesn't make sense, and it's not fair to us normies as we get ticketed if we do the same. They are permitted to do certain things while they're on duty, and there may be reason why they're doing that. Maybe they were trying to protect themselves on the road. I don't know the specifics, but
were they blocking the same lane on the road that all the other cars that shouldn't have been parked there were blocking anyways?
That's a good question. Or were they blocking a live lane of traffic? Because then that could be just not a good idea.
Yeah, and I don't think I've ever seen them do that, blocking a live lane of traffic. Just that.
I've not seen it either, but I'm sure it's possible. And depending on the circumstances, was it a main road? Was it a side street? And to some degree, I get it. If they pull up, there's an offense taking place. They do it. They run out. They take the ticket. They get back in rather than walking. 5 meters is very close. But I don't know.
And really, is it any better to block the alley? So if the alley, people have to travel through as well. So.
Lots of
if everybody parked properly, then parking enforcement wouldn't have to go out there and do this. Problem solved.
Tomato would like to know why I'm here streaming. Shouldn't you be out working? This is work. Oddly enough, there's a reason to be here because education must happen. People need to know the answers to their questions. Your question, no different. You get to ask that question because you want to know the answer, and we're here to answer questions.
You know what? Knowledge is power. If we're able to answer your questions before you go out there not knowing what is right and what is wrong, and you, first of all, get caught for it, there's a risk there, or do something that is not lawful and get involved in a collision, hurt somebody, if we can deal with that in this forum, in this manner, to stop that from happening, then our job has been done. We are traffic safety programs, and traffic safety is our ultimate goal. And knowledge is a key component to that.
I was going to say, it's a huge component of traffic safety because if you don't know, you're more apt to make mistakes. You're more apt to make poor decisions. And we're trying to, like Sarge said, keep everybody safe. Here's a question. So Logic follows up and says it was a live lane of traffic, and he wished he took a picture because this happened yesterday, and they were out of the car for 15 minutes. Interesting. And it was a closed alley, so dead end. Interesting. I'd love to know more, like specifically where it is.
Yeah, it doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound logical for the officer to do that. So
Question is, can I drive with no shirt on? So it's not illegal. I don't think anybody wants to see it. And it also, I always wonder, you get your seats all sweaty if they're fabric, and then your car doesn't like you ever again. That's like you can't. I don't know. But is it illegal? No,
no,
not illegal. We have a question of, can you a follow-up question to no shirt? It's no feet. No, you have to drive with
no fees.
No, you drive a car
Feet.
in bare feet. And the answer is you can, but it's really not a good idea.
So in Ontario, it is actually lawful to do that. One of the things you have to consider is if you are unfortunate enough to get involved in a collision and there is, broken glass or sharp metal or something like that, and you have to exit your vehicle, maybe sometimes in a hurry, how are you going to do that without, injuring yourself even more?
I don't want to walk on Lego, never mind broken glass. I think it was Jason Bourne or one of the movies, and the statement was, never wear anything you can't run in.
Yeah,
And that was not a driving specific thing, but I apply it there. You want to have something that's secure. So not even flip-flops. I would not suggest flip-flops. It has to be something secure to your feet, because flip-flops can flop and flip and could be stuck under pedals, and then your brakes don't work, or your gas pedal gets stuck, or bad things could happen.
I actually saw over the last weekend, somebody operating a motorcycle in flip-flops.
Really? That's really, really, really
Not
really
unlawful,
silly. But really,
definitely
really
not
silly.
wise.
Wow. Okay. Why can't you do anything fun in Canada? If you mean illegal is fun, then I guess you're not supposed to do anything fun by your standard. But lots of fun stuff to do, and there's fun ways to do stuff that's illegal on the road legally. It's called going to a track, and I'm going there tomorrow. I'm going to a track tomorrow.
And next weekend,
And
next
the
weekend, we're going to be
and yes, both of us will be there for the majority.
We're actually
of
going to be at the Molson Indian in Toronto.
no longer Molson, now it's Honda Indy.
Oh, that's right. Sorry, that's showing my age. Yes. We will be there. If you want to come say hi, we will have a display set up there, and come hang out.
We have a question from Sweet Angel 249, and they'd like to know how to become a traffic cop.
Got to become a police officer first.
Yes. And oddly enough, that gives me a perfect opportunity to talk about the fact that we are hiring. The Toronto Police is looking for people who want to serve their community. And you know how you do that? Well, there's lots of ways, and you don't have to be a police officer to do it. You don't even have to join our service to do it, but there is a great opportunity if you'd like to serve in a uniform capacity. And if you're not interested in being a police officer, Special Constable is an opportunity. We have parking enforcement officers that we were talking about, communications operators, those fine folks that answer the phone and dispatch police officers to where they need to be to help people. So these are great opportunities. We also have civilian positions. If you never want to see a uniform or deal with the public, you might want to work in benefits and deal with the magical people that work here and become one of us. So there's lots of opportunities, but we are always hiring, looking for good people. These are the 3 positions that are currently taking applications. This was like, we had 12 positions, at least 12 positions open last week or in the last couple of weeks. It changes all the time. So if you have interest in joining a team like ours to be part of this magical group of folks, then I would encourage you to check out the website. What is that website, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked, as I stall for being able to press the button. There it is. tps.ca/careers will get you to all of this magical content.
And if you want to become a traffic cop, then we'll think you're pretty cool, because it's a pretty cool job.
I think it's the best job. I really worked in a division, so did you, and I've seen different types of policing. Although I always wanted to come to traffic, so I didn't go through many changes before transferring here. But I think it's the best place to work within the service, and I'm biased.
I agree. You know what? I'm always a vehicle guy. I always have been. Love it. And then when you get into the portion of it that not just giving out tickets, but you get into the investigative portion of it, where you're reconstructing collisions and things like that, using your math skills, using your powers of observation, your paperwork skills, all good stuff, all fun stuff.
You get to use your head. You get to have, and there's stuff that's really fun. I mean, we're going to go work at the Honda Indy and meet you. That's going to be fun for us.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's fun for anybody else, but it's fun for us. I'm getting some updated questions because they are coming in fast. Okay, let me hop there. And I got a question that's from Alex behind the camera. Can I drive in the HOV lane with a camping trailer? I don't think there's any restriction to what you tow. I think the issue is that you must qualify because you have the appropriate number of people in your vehicle.
Yep, absolutely.
But if you can tow it on the road, you can tow it there. See if this big dump of text works. I have to send you. I tweeted about it yesterday. I found a very funny show randomly because of TikTok. Actually, it's a Prime television series, animated, intended 16 and over. It's very inappropriate in terms of the humor. It's basically about this. I think the guy named Bob or Ted or something, and he fights demons, and it's hilarious. So I watched that for 40 minutes yesterday.
And what does that have to do with traffic?
Absolutely nothing.
Is there a car involved?
He drove a car into a
well,
demon's
there you go.
lair. There was a car, actually.
Oh, well, that's traffic related.
Here's a question. What happens if you're caught driving without a license? If I lose my mouse, I cannot put it here. There we go.
Well, first of all, we're going to get charged for it. So if you have a suspended license, that is different from driving with no license. Two different charges, both get charged, both go to court. You pay a fine and it goes on your record. A license conviction will affect your MTO record in the future should you actually choose to get a license. So don't get caught. Don't do it.
It's just a bad idea. And the most important thing is if you let's assume it's mom, dad, friend's car. No license means no insurance. The vehicle might be insured, but you're not going to be insured. And if you happen to get into a collision, you are basically saying goodbye to that car, and that might hurt someone's feelings or their opportunities to drive or feed their family. Like if your family relies on that vehicle, you're going to take it out of the commission or cost them tons and tons of money. Neha, good morning to you. I just saw the message that said hello from you.
I do have to run, Sean.
Okay.
So
well, it was nice having you for the short time that you were here.
Yep.
And
try and get as much time on here as I can. It doesn't always work, though.
this is the unfortunate problem with having other things to do. We juggle here and
We do.
and you can't control what's going to happen every day. We sort of show up. We know what time we show up for work. We don't know what's going to happen once we get here, within reason.
Always changes.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons I like it so much.
Have an awesome weekend.
You too. I'll see you like soon. He's leaving here, but I'm not leaving here. Okay, let me zoom in again. What happens if you're caught with no license? We talked about that. We've got, Kayla had to take off. Do I need to have my name under the insurance? Okay. Tom Jerry. It's Tom Jerry, not Tom and Jerry, and I'm sure everybody asks you the same thing, but I grew up watching Tom and Jerry, if anyone knows what that is. That was just like awesomeness as a child. The deal is that most insurance companies, if you live with the insured party, the driver who owns the car, then they want you to be insured, listed on as a driver. If you are borrowing your friend's car or you don't live with your parents, then no, technically you can borrow a car that is insured with the owner's permission and drive it if you're properly licensed. Okay, we talked about this. Oh, Tom, you're repeating your questions. Don't spam. I get to it eventually. What happens if you have an expired license? Well, then you have no license. Expired license is no license, so you'd be charged accordingly. One-wheel electric vehicles, they seem awfully unsafe. Those are electric unicycles, or in some cases, they're literally called one-wheels. They are not legal. They are not legal at all. They are motor vehicles. They are capable of extreme speeds, some of them 70, 80 kilometers an hour. I saw an amazing video. I say amazing because it was shocking to see one of these racing or pacing a train, like a train, not fast. They can do 70 or more kilometers an hour. And the deal is that they're not legal on the road, and there's no way to make them legal. But we do charge people when they use them on the road. And by the way, Tom, got your message. No worries, no apology necessary. Just we're running slow. No producer today. Okay, can you update? Oh, Big Jeff Fresh wants to know the name of the Very Funny Show. Do you know how I will find the name of the Funny Show? Because I will. I will go look on Prime right now. I was watching it on the treadmill today. Let me turn on the volume so this doesn't blast it. What is the name? It's called Gary and His Demons. And it is, that's okay. Gary and His Demons. It is funny and totally inappropriate. Okay. When making a left turn, do you have to merge into the right lane after? If you're not going, this is a question as to what speed you must go. So you don't have to, they have to be two separate things. You can't just slide right into the right lane. So if that's what you're asking, like, can you go directly into the right lane? The answer is no. But you do have to do two separate things. So you can move into the left lane, then signal into the right lane if that's where you want to be. Chase left a message on Discord, which I've really not been using, and that's my bad. It's my bad because I want to use it, and I've just not had it working properly, which means I need to change my sound settings. But we want to hear from Chase. Let's see if it works. If I change that to this. Okay. Stand by. Looking for the message. There's lots of talk here. Where'd it go? Photos, no. Announcements, no. What folder did you put it in, Chase? There's so many. There's so much unnecessary stuff on this platform because it was created a long time ago, and we just, the way it was set up was by someone who set it up for us. And lots of photos. No, I don't see it. Did you send it to me as a direct DM? That's possible. But I don't see it. Let me know. I will go back and look again. Okay. Yes, Tom mentions that I have a lot going on TikTok in terms of questions coming in. It is the thing. Okay. We're going to try, maybe I'll just, in the questions folder. Okay. Cool. I'll go check there in a sec. You know what? I'm gonna stall. I'm gonna quickly mention this as a way for me to read because I can do that. I can multitask. Here is an opportunity for you to be a great and magical person supporting the Special Olympics Ontario, which, by the way, if you have ever wondered what they do, you should totally check it out. They do truly amazing stuff. Now, how do you win a 2022 Harley-Davidson Touring Street Glide? Well, you have to buy a ticket. One ticket for $20, 3 for $50, 8 for $100, and obviously 8 for $100 is the best way to go. Now, we had a couple days ago the early bird prize draw. I don't know who won, but it wasn't me because I didn't get a call. But what is it? What is the date? I don't have this on the right screen. The date for the actual draw is August 2nd. You'd think I'd remember that, but I didn't. I would thoroughly suggest buying one before the 25 days, 25 hours, 25 days, 22 hours, and 27 minutes expires, because then you don't have a chance to win anymore. All right, let's hear from Chase. And hopefully,
so I just had this situation happen right now. I was at a four-way stop, and on the other side there was an oversized load.
Wait, are you hearing this? Can you hear that? Did that work? Maybe I have to do one more thing here. I think I have to switch this to the other one, at which point I probably won't hear it. Okay, that's a great question. The answer is there is no exemption. Each vehicle has to come to a stop. I get what they're trying to do. They want to make sure that nobody sneaks in behind, which is possible, but there's no exemption that, oh wait, now you didn't hear it? So you heard it the first time, but then you didn't hear it? Oh, okay, you're going to try that again. You just watched me nod, so cool. Delay, apparently. Try that one more time.
So I just had this situation happen right now. I was at a four-way stop, and on the other side there was an oversized load, like a semi-truck, and then behind him was a pickup truck with all the flashing lights and then the sign that said oversized load. And when they went through the stop sign, he rode his bumper and kind of like went through the stop sign with him, and they both went at the same time. Now, is he allowed to do this, or is there some kind of exemption for it, or does he actually have to wait for the big guy to go and then he has to go behind him separately?
That time it hurt? You heard it that time? Okay, there's no exemption that allows them to go through a stop sign. They are not one vehicle. There's nothing that I'm aware of that would give them any benefit like that. Yeah, no. I understand why they do it. it's even possible that, that an officer wouldn't enforce it because it makes sense that in a busy area, somebody who doesn't know any better would try and sneak in. It's also, no, I'm not aware of any authority that would allow them to do that. And now I'm going to talk to the commercial truck group that would be likely looking into them if they did do it. So I'll find out, and we'll talk about this again. Here's a question from Sager. I think I'm saying your name right, but if I'm not, let me know. Can a G2 driver drive on a highway at 3 a.m. by themselves? Yes. A G2 driver can, in fact, drive on a highway by themselves because they hold a license that allows them to, with very few conditions, drive. They're basically probationary. As long as they don't have passengers that they don't live with, they don't have passengers under the age of 20 that are not immediate family. Because between midnight and 5 a.m., the only passengers under 20 that they can have are 1 or 3 in the second 6 months. 1 in the first 6 months, 3 in the second. I've really made a mess of that. In the first 6 months of being a G2 licensed driver, you can have 1 person under the age of 20 who is not an immediate family member in your vehicle between midnight and 5 a.m. After 6 months, it changes to 3 people from 12 to 5. And then it's unrestricted, but there are no restrictions to the immediate family number, the number of immediate family members you can have in the vehicle. Okay. Why is it that truck companies don't want to employ new AZ drivers? John, I have no idea. It's not something that I know anything about. Can you put plastic license plate covers on if they're colored? The question is about license plate covers and if they're colored. Well, the answer is you can't put license plate covers on regardless of color, like tint, clear, nothing. It's not permitted. And people say, well, if you can still read it, I can still see. Why is it illegal? And the answer is that it's because it makes it more difficult. They get dirty. They obscure, in some cases, cameras from being able to monitor them. There's a bunch of reasons, but ultimately the law says you can't do it. So just don't do it. Are we actively looking for everyone who has a license plate cover? No. Usually it's when you're doing something wonky behind the wheel that we pull you over and you end up getting that one as well. I will say this, if I have any hint of not being able to read, because sometimes you have to get up like an inch from the plate to figure out what it says. You're going to get stopped and charged. So it really depends. But is it legal? Absolutely not. Is it a priority for us? It's not a priority unless we can't read it. Is there a chance court might cancel a fail to surrender license ticket? There's a chance. That's what court's for. People roll the dice and take that chance. If you didn't surrender it, you didn't surrender it, and you're guilty of not surrendering it. So if it's worth the day's pay to take off court and try to save that $110, then I get it. They may dismiss it, but it's not a guarantee. Okay. Here to do. Emma was on it with the no covers or frames at all. There's a lot of duplication. Please only ask questions once. Sunny actually asked that a number of times. Why do dealerships put frames on them? That's a great question. And Emma answered it quite quickly. Advertising. That's in their best interest, not yours. And could you be charged for having their license plate frame? Absolutely. People are very upset about things that I have nothing to do with, and they're trying to. Well, wow, your username says it all. Okay. Why don't police catch more bike riders breaking street rules? What kind of bike riders are we talking about? Cyclists? Or are we talking about motorcycle riders? Because we do charge both. It all depends on what we witness. That's a big thing. And what our priorities are. I don't need to, I mean, I may see someone run a stop sign and it may not be feasible for me to get up there to stop them. I might be doing something entirely different. I might be stuck on a call for service, or I might have somebody in custody. I might be writing a ticket and I may not be able to do it. But if I see someone doing something just flagrant like that, I will absolutely stop and charge them. Well, I won't because I'm not on the road anymore. But when I was, that's what I did. If you are talking about, just how we go about doing our enforcement, we're looking for people who are putting the greatest risk of life at risk. Risk of life? Whoever's putting life at risk more. We're looking for those extreme speeders, distracted drivers. I would like to see cyclists be included in the law for distracted driving. I cannot get over how many cyclists are using their cell phones when driving. Now, I'm obviously only seeing and noticing the ones who are doing it, but it seems like an uncanny, percentage, because that's the people I see. But you know how many people own a Volkswagen Bug and then see every Volkswagen Bug? I'm peeved about riders who text and ride. Thus, I see every one of them. I notice them. What is this? I told my friend if he's seen in Toronto with a Boston Bruins plate frame, he's getting ticketed for $110. No need to tell him the full story. Yes, blame it on the Bruins because we're anti-Bruins here. Apparently, I think I had a hockey card with the Bruins. It is hockey, right? Clicky says, so I'm already driving illegally right off the lot. Yes, you are. If you buy a car and it has a dealer plate on it, you're absolutely illegal from the moment you drive off. But again, we're not pulling everybody. We would have to stop everybody. Literally, everybody has a plate cover. It's the very, very minute fraction of a fraction of a percent. Like so few people have no license plate frame. And for the most part, if it's not obstructing anything, it's really not an issue. But some of them are horrible, and you would be pulled. I heard ATVs aren't legal. Why? What do you mean? ATVs aren't legal. Do you mean on the road? Because they're not permitted in every jurisdiction. If you're talking about like illegal everywhere, then I don't know what you're talking about. That's not the case. ATCs were outlawed, I believe. Those were the three-wheel ones because they were truly unsafe. But in terms of, some jurisdictions allow ATVs on the road. And I think the stipulation is under 50 kilometer an hour speed limit. It's very specific, but again, that's not everywhere. That is definitely not everywhere. Can you cross solid lines unless signs say different? Oh no, that's the answer. That's Tracy's answering somebody else. So the question was, here we go. Is it illegal to overtake a solid line to overtake traffic? So there's no law about crossing the painted line. There are signs that say you cannot cross a line, and then the sign is enforceable, but the line itself doesn't actually have authority in Ontario. Other provinces, it will. Now, you must know that if you actually do it and cause a collision, it's on you. The line gave you advice, solid line, don't pass. Now, another thing to think about, are you exceeding the speed limit when you pass? Many people think that it's okay to go fast whilst passing. It's not. You're not permitted to exceed the posted speed limit at all, even to pass. So people say, well, how are you supposed to pass? Well, if you're passing someone who's doing the legal limit, you should just get in line and chill out because that's the legal limit. And I would love to give people tickets for passing unsafely and speeding whilst doing it. Let's see here. We got Safe Driver. Good morning. Good morning to you. I have no idea what time you posted this, but good morning to you. If you don't already follow the Safe Driver, you should. And Truba Cars, because they have great advice for new drivers. Not just drivers who've been driving and have questions, but truly new drivers who want to become licensed safe drivers. Check them out, Truba Cars. And I have somewhere, hold on a second. I have a button with some logos. What's the beat? Dancing in a Row. What is that from? What movie is that? Truba Cars. We do a segment called New Driver Show, which, by the way, Scott, we have to schedule the next episode of the New Driver Show with Sean and Scott. Is that a really creative name, the New Driver Show? I bet no one's ever thought of that before. Never, never, never. If you're watching and you have no idea who I am or how to get in touch with us, how to ask a question, let me just tell you who I am. My name is Sean Shapiro. I'm a police officer with the Toronto Police Service, and I go live on social media to answer your traffic and police questions. Below this screen, you may notice some logos. These are the platforms we're currently broadcasting on, and more to come because we plan on dominating the entire internet. But YouTube, a good place to be. Yeah, we have a couple thousand followers there. We obviously have the largest audience with over 623,000 followers on TikTok. That's the big show. But YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Kick. We're on Twitter, but you can't ask us questions there. It's one way, the other way. Broadcast only. So jump over to trafficcop.ca to find out how to, or the addresses for all of our other platforms. You can ask us questions. And granted, it's going to be slow today. If you're just jumping in now, you're behind in a line. Now, we're also on Threads, although I don't know why. I don't understand why this platform exists. I just don't. You can't even put GIFs on. There's no button for the funny GIF. I went to post something in a comment, and I didn't feel complete. Just left me incomplete. I prefer Twitter. And that's not saying much because I don't even like Twitter. But of the two, I prefer Twitter. Yeah. Oh, okay, moving on. This is Ask a Traffic Cop, so ask questions. And we are not here Monday. We will be back Tuesday, and we'll do this all again. Keem says, I see a lot of people with very dark tint, not sure if it voids insurance. I've never had that question. And that's really going to be up to the insurance company. If they found out that you had dark and illegal tint, could they choose not to honor a claim? I think so. I've seen or heard, in fact, you can go googly-goo this, somebody that had made a modification to their exhaust system had their claim denied. So if they're willing to deny a claim, and every insurance company is different, based on an exhaust, which is just noise, which really doesn't impact the whole driving business, if you have something that's actually unsafe, I think they would take that opportunity to save lots of money, because that's kind of what they're in for. They're about the money. That's why they're here. So yes, I would say it's a very good chance that you would have your insurance voided, or at very least claim denied. All right. I saw, Akela Draconis is back. Justin has a question. Let's see what this is. Let's put it on the big screen. Is there a certain distance between the light and intersecting street where you may no longer turn right on a red light, assuming there is no sign indicating otherwise? This is like the offset intersections that confuse everybody, including myself. I have thought about this as I've been making the turn. So where the line is a few meters behind the corner, is it legal? It feels wrong while doing it, and I've still done it because I'm not aware of anything that would make it illegal. And there you have it. I don't have an answer. I cannot confirm or deny the existence. I believe it's legal. That's all I can tell you, because I do it. Is it legal to do a chrome delete on my car? I'm not aware of anything that suggests that it would be illegal to remove every chrome doodad. Half of the people I know that buy Harleys spend lots of money to put chrome on. Half, or the other half, are spending money to take the chrome off. Changing the color significantly is different than chrome. So even if you were to take all the chrome off, there's nothing you need to update and no law that you're violating that I'm aware of. I have to put that caveat. There's nothing. People asked about badging, taking badges off, like a manufacturer, badges. I'm not aware of anything like that either. Like, what? Do you have to put down that you have a Ford on the back of your truck? I don't think so. People are putting covers all over that stuff. I think it's quite funny when people buy a Mercedes and they buy a base Mercedes, but then buy numbers on eBay that they can glue on that show a higher number because they want to say they have a 500 instead of a 300. Like no one's going to figure that out. I mean, similar body styles, you can fake it. I know someone who did that. I thought that was particularly funny. Quick story. They did that because they were buying their spouse a car and they wanted the fancy car, but didn't want to spend the fancy car. And the spouse didn't know the difference other than the badge said 500, so they were happy. Yeah. Quality relationship advice, not from that person. Okay. Kayla's back in real time. Did you know you can watch this in high speed mode to catch up what you missed? Kayla taught me something a long time ago, but now I know stuff. I've actually watched some, talking head videos at high speed. So I listen to my podcasts at 2 times. Because if I can read a book or listen, and my audiobooks at 2 times. Sometimes, depending on how quickly the person speaks, maybe it's only 1 1/4, 1.5. I play with it because everyone has a different cadence. But I can absorb information faster. So why not absorb the information faster? Spend less time. You don't need to listen to somebody speak slowly and emote at all. Like I'm listening to the character from what is it? What is the character from what is it? Winnie the Pooh. What's the name of the donkey? He speaks. Tip my tongue. Anyway, I would lose my mind if I had to listen to someone speak that slowly. I had a friend in high school who took a very long time to eat his sandwiches. We used to go to his house for lunch, and he'd make a sandwich and take like for a 2 slice of bread sandwich, he took an eternity. Fantastic guy. Apparently he's a dancer now, like backup dancer, like big time into the movies. I haven't spoken to him in years, but he took a long time to eat his sandwiches. That part I remember. And his sister, who's a wonderful person, is a performer, singer. So if you're watching, I'm talking about you, the family. Let's see here. Harjan, if you get a ticket for having no insurance, but a lawyer brings the ticket down to failure to show, good luck. Driving with no insurance and you think you're going to have it reduced to having a failure to surrender proof of insurance. If you can get it done, good on you. But driving with no insurance is very different than failing to give we're talking a $65 ticket for failing to surrender proof of insurance versus a ticket that has a $5,000 to $25,000 range on the first conviction and up to 6 months in jail. $65 ticket, $5,000 to $25,000, 6 months in jail. I don't think that there's a JP that would sleep at night if they were making deals like that. I don't think prosecutors would entertain those deals. But if you find an actual, like we bring in the insurance professional, we get them to testify. Everything you do on an insurance policy with your insurance company, they record the lines. They are more than happy to come in and testify against you. Yeah. True. We got here Eeyore. Thank you to Kayla and Big Jeff Fresh who jumped in to save me with my slow moving. Is he a donkey? I think he's a donkey. Eeyore. My wife likes Eeyore. We have an Eeyore mug. Why I couldn't remember Eeyore, we'll never know. Oh, no kidding. Kayla is trying to. Okay, very good. I'm very happy to hear we may see a Kayla on July 14th, which is, by the way, the first day of Honda Indy, which is where myself and the good sergeant will be. We'll be spending time at a Honda Indy for the entire weekend, morning, open to close. We'll be there. We may be very warm. We may not smell very good based on that. We'll bring lots of cologne. We'll try and, to keep it manageable. But I envision a ridiculously warm day times 3. Just saying. Navjot has a question. I got a ticket for standing in a fire route while I dropped a passenger in an apartment building. Okay. I'm sorry to hear that. Was there a question there? Kayla says, I didn't hear about the, he didn't win the draw for the $500. I didn't get a call either. I did talk about the Harley though. You weren't here. Wait, you caught up. You should have heard it. Big Jeff Fresh not only clarifies that or reinforces or confirms that Eeyore is in fact a donkey, but he has a pinned-in tail. Yeah. Can a Toronto officer pull over an ambulance for speeding? And the answer is yes. We can stop anyone for speeding. Ambulance. Now, here's the thing. It depends, because an ambulance has different policies for exceeding the speed limit than a fire. Sorry, police, fire, and ambulance have different restrictions for when they can speed. They have to be going to or from a call, if I read it correctly, whereas police can exceed the speed limit for any lawful purpose. So we have different policies. So could we stop someone for speeding? Yes. If they were going lights and sirens, we wouldn't. But if they were just speeding because they were speeding, then yes, we could. I think are you picking up what I'm putting down? I think I make sense. If I don't make sense, let me know, because I want to make sure I'm making sense. Okay, what do we have here? What happens if I'm driving a friend's car and I get into a collision, not an accident? Whose insurance pays? Well, theirs would. If you wanted to provide yours, I think that they would subrogate, and you could potentially binder yours onto theirs, being a good friend that you are. But generally speaking, it's the registered owner. It's the registered, the insurance that's actually on the vehicle. Can we drive with underglow in Ontario? If we can, what colors are allowed? There are obviously restrictions to flashing red and blue and green. Those are lights that I would avoid. The bigger thing to avoid is having the light visible, having the bulbs visible and the light shining forward, back, or side to side in any color, because you're only allowed to project white and yellow to the front, red and amber to the rear. So if you're producing any color that's visible to the front, other than simply reflecting mildly off the ground, you are actually looking at charges. Okay. Why You Lurkin asks, why do most cops speed without their lights on? This is a fantastic question. I'm glad you asked it, because it is something that most people will not have thought about. And the answer is that it's safer. I know, doesn't make sense, right? The deal is that when we are exceeding the speed limit, we are generally getting somewhere faster. Not because we're speeding, but because we're not being interrupted by people who don't know what to do when the lights are on. People panic. People stop the car in the middle of the road. People do the craziest things, and it's because they panic. So it is safer to travel at a little bit above the speed limit, and we have to make that safe determination as to what we can do, and not have our lights active. Additionally, if we are doing enforcement, we need to be moving faster than the flow of traffic in order to approach the vehicle in front, so we can make observations. Are they wearing seatbelts? Are they using their phone? Are we trying to identify the driver before we pull them over for speed? Like, there's so many different reasons. Oh, Michael says he actually got an email for the $500 Harley gift card announcing that he did not win. Well, now I need to go and look at. I have to go look at my emails. That is good to know. I don't remember reading anything like that. So maybe I did win and I just didn't read it. Did it say who won? Now inquiring minds want to know. Can a newcomer to Canada drive in Ontario on an Indian license? I believe an Indian license with an IDP would be acceptable, but only for 3 months until you, because once you're a resident, oops, wrong button. Once you're a resident, you would be required to get an Ontario license within 3 months. 3 months at least to apply. There's some weird stuff that's going on with licenses and foreign licenses that I'm still looking into stuff. But generally speaking, that they're doing some weird stuff where you're transitioning from a foreign to an Ontario license, and there's a status on there where they're giving people ID cards that aren't licenses, but people are confused and think they can drive on them. So I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. But if you go to trafficcop.ca and look to the bottom under the useful links heading, there is a link for newcomers. So check that out. Can I be ticketed while driving around private property, i.e. driving on my own farm? Okay, I feel like I just went to Eeyore speed when I read that. The answer is there is no charge for driving without a license on private property, but that's not what you're saying. Can I be ticketed? In certain situations, yes, like stunt driving. If you're driving around on your own farm and you're stunt driving on your own farm, then yeah, you can be charged. And all the stunt driving stuff applies. If you're impaired by alcohol or drugs on your own farm and you're investigated, then yeah, absolutely. So that's a thing. Grant the Bomb wants to know if it's legal to drive in sandals. The answer is it is in Ontario. It's not advised. I mean, maybe if you have ones that Velcro around or are secure, not a big deal. But if it's flip-flops, I would suggest against it. Kokomoko, can you get charged for jaywalking in a parking lot? No. Again, Highway Traffic Act generally doesn't apply on private property, but there are certain charges like stunt driving, for instance, that do. Alex Glenn says, I have a question. I have answers, but you have to ask the question first. Okay. All right, looking through here. Here it is. What if you renewed your insurance, but you don't have the new pink slips on you? If the insurance policy is in effect and you simply forgot your insurance slip, we might investigate. Maybe we call your insurance company to verify that. But we would generally just give you the $65 ticket for not surrendering a valid proof of insurance. Okay. Scrolling through, trying to speed up because we're at 11 o'clock. And I'd like to try and get as many questions that were in the queue answered. What is this? What if you... I'm looking for the interaction here. What if you rarely drive? No point. I'm not sure what we're talking about. Do you think that cyclists should have to have a license? Paul wants to know. I personally, it's not a Toronto police policy. This is or opinion. This is my opinion. I think that everyone who uses the road on a vehicle should be licensed to do so, whether you're proving proficiency on a skateboard, which, by the way, can't be used on the road legally, or you're using a bicycle, an e-bike for sure. But what's the difference between an e-bike and a bicycle? Not much. You should know the rules of the road for your safety, for everybody else's safety. And that's just how I feel. Now, when I was a kid, I took a bicycle program in a parking lot, and they gave me a paper license. It wasn't official, but having that training course set me up for success. Now, you might say, well, come on, everyone knows how to ride. No, I cannot tell you how many people have no idea that the Highway Traffic Act applies to cyclists. It does. They're responsible for many, not all, but many of the same rules. But knowing what cars have to do and knowing what cyclists have to do and what their responsibilities are will make people safer, in my opinion. I'd very much like to see license plates on all bicycles and all vehicles, and the reason being, I'd like to be able to catch them on automated speed enforcement. Well, speed doesn't apply, but I'd like to see them for red light and stop sign cameras. Stop sign cameras are elsewhere. There's one, I think, in Hollywood that's made millions of dollars for the city. Why? Because people aren't stopping. Right Eye says they're not reading my question. He said, no, actually, he said something else. He says, I'm out. Yeah, we didn't get to you yet. You missed me reading your question. Where I don't even see the other question. Anyway, we can't read them all. We do our best. And when I say we, it's me. It's just me. I'm alone. I'm just doing my best. So apologies to anyone. And I apologies to anyone who feels slighted if I didn't read your question. If I missed it, it was not necessarily intentional. Could have been intentional. If you said something really, really offensive, I probably wouldn't read it. Grant the Bomb says, just wanted to say, love the show. Well, thank you very much, Grant. I appreciate it. I like the icon, by the way. Okay. Kathy says, what about truckers and flip-flops? I don't think flip-flops should be used by anyone. Definitely not motorcycle riders, because Sarge was talking about that. Do you think it should be harder to obtain a license in general, like for motor vehicle operators? Yeah. I think that we have made it really, really easy, although we've added time to the mix. I'd like to see it harder, and maybe we reduce the time. Maybe make it harder and reduce it. Whatever it is, I think that the threshold to getting licensed should be higher, because we're seeing too many people who just shouldn't be on the road. Carter XD2 says, I was hating originally because bureaucrats, but you guys are pretty cool. Well, thank you very much. I'm going to Mosport. Is that not? I think that's where I'm going. Or am I going to the Canadian? Where am I going? I'm going to an event tomorrow at a track, which I think is Mosport. Names are irrelevant. I'm just going to wherever the track is. Okay, Kevin says, okay, we covered about it already. We talked about Underglow. Caleb Brownlee, are F-Class licenses, are F-Class vehicles legal on all streets in Canada? I think so. I can't imagine. Well, first of all, the classifications depend or change from province to province. I don't think that they're all the same. But I do believe that if it's licensed for the road in one province, you're probably going to be okay in every one of them. What happened to, what is this? I have no idea what you're talking about, George. Alex Glenn, what if I've renewed my, okay, we talked about that. Talked about this. What? Somebody suggests that we have the same idea that we're liar people, I think is what you're trying to say. I'm not sure what you're actually alleging. Nobody wants to join corrupts into, I guess Carter doesn't think that they want to join the police service. Okay. Oh gosh, that would be amazing. Do officers get 20 to 35% from traffic tickets? If I got commission, I'd never go home. No, there's no commission. There's no bonus. There's no free toaster. There's no mandatory minimum issued. What do they call that? What is it called? A quota. There's no quota. Wow. Carter would rather die than join the police service. I think you're American. You said state bureaucrat. I don't know. I think we're in Canada. We're nice here. I don't know what your problem is. Spike, I can't be a cop. I'd lose it. Is that, all right, we're moving on. Lawyer drops ticket to failure to the hard job. We talked about it, so I'm not a lot of duplication. I know people want an instant answer. This is not an instant answer show. What do we got here? Do we need to go to police school before applying or after getting accepted? So this is in terms of joining the police service. I can talk about that for a second. The deal is that you must qualify the minimum requirements to be hired. Is additional training required? No, you could become a doctor and then become a police officer. It's happened. But then you have, afterwards, we send you to police college. We're going to train you for everything you need to know to do the job. Okay. We're up to date. And it only took 5 minutes. Now I'm going to close this window. And I'm going to see if there's anything truly amazing. Come on, Word. I'm going to close this one. I'm going to close that one. I'm going to briefly mention this one. I want to make sure that you know that this Ask a Traffic Cop business has a voiceover cop link tree. And why am I telling you this? Because there's some useful stuff. Not only can you find all of our social media right here, but you can also use the useful links. And that's really what this is all about. Yes, contacting me is cool. I appreciate the shout outs and when people reach out and have questions. I'm happy to help. However, it's this information that I think you're going to find most valuable, and that is to be able to start a report online, whether that be minor stuff, parking complaints. You can make some police reports online, and the link to the Toronto Police page to do that is right there. If you're a pedestrian or cyclist involved in a collision, you can start your reports here before going to one of the collision reporting centers, if it's not reported at scene. You're just looking to get a license? I got the whole driver's handbook here for Ontario. You want to check to see if someone's licensed before lending them your vehicle, because you're responsible for what happens when you do that. Check it out. You can check their license here. This is what rental companies use, by the way, to make sure that the people are licensed. Okay, we have renewing your license plate. We don't have to put stickers on anymore. We don't pay anymore, but you still have to do it. And if you owe money for tickets, you can't actually renew it without doing this. There we go. You want to know about riding bicycles in the law, riding an e-bike, riding an e-scooter, all sorts of great stuff. And it's all right there. So there you have it. I don't know what I did with my calendar, with my jokes. A second. I can't see it. This is the joy of moving. This is why I hate moving. The joy of hating to move. Long way. Okay. We will do dad jokes from this deck. And then we will say goodbye, because we will be back Tuesday. And I do hope that everyone has a great weekend. What do you call someone with no body and no nose? Nobody knows. I took the shell off my racing snail to make him go fast, but now he's sluggish. I actually like that one. I used to work in a shoe recycling shop. It was soul destroying. I slept like a log last night. I woke up in a fireplace. All right, with that, I say goodbye. We'll play this whole traffic song, the right one this time. Back on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. Drive safe, drive sober. No drugs, no alcohol. We'll catch you soon.
Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow. Watch for pedestrians, look out for bikes, and don't drive like a jerk that no one likes. Yellow light, nobody needs you to text and drive on the DVP. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Stop at stop signs, look both ways, then go. Seatbelt, save your life indeed, and watch your driving. Don't speed. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely is the way to go. Don't drink and drive or smoke some weed, because you might go to jail and not get free. Yellow light, red light, green light, go. Driving safely helps the traffic flow.
That's all, folks.